It is Monday, July 20th. The S&P closed down today 14 basis points, 0.19%. The Nasdaq closed down 12 basis points, 0.05%. The Nasdaq 100 closed green, 0.04%, and the Russell 2000 closed down 0.67%. And then the Dow Jones, they closed down 60%, 307 basis points. Let's get right into it. What happened today? First, we'll go ahead and go over our 0-day play here today. We took 700 calls. We did quite well with them, and we walked them downstream. We even had some fun today, losing profits but getting them back here. As you can see, all positions ended up green here. We did really well. 25 bucks doesn't matter. 450 bucks looks a lot better here. We also had some members with some gains here today. Let's go ahead and recap them. So it looks like from the beginning of the day, we had some members take some of these call outs here, looking pretty good. J Bob made $2,000 following somebody else's trade. We had Punk Beach on my 720 call out here. We had Joel taking some plays here. Joel again here with some plays. Joel again. Fax Cobra. We had Chris day 2 of his eval on my call outs here. Joel here with some more gains here. Looks like he's up $2,000 in the past months following our trades and some of his own. And then we have Fax Cobra here with the end of the day, 3 o'clock power move. Bang! Good job, bro. We also had another account pass, Matthew JL here. Amazing job. Great discipline here, passing this options funding prop firm. By the way, we do have a 70% discount going on right now. Options funding. Use code HPT, please.
So what I'm looking here for a candle right here, why I decided to enter was you have your pre-market high, you have your pre-market low down here, then you kind of have your, then kind of like what's your middle ground between both, right? It's kind of right around here, I think. So we didn't quite tap here. One way if you want to kind of hedge your position here, so a lot of people have a problem doing this. One way to hedge your position, right, is so if I have calls here, 702 calls, one way to kind of protect yourself is, right, just grab some 702 puts, right? So some people I think trip too much on price, and I think they pick the wrong strike. I think they pick the wrong date. I think they pick the wrong everything. I think they have the wrong damn chart in front of their face. But I think, like, what can you take from that? And I think what I take away from that is, like, just make sure you're getting the right positions here. So right here, right, we have 72 calls. Look to see how these contracts move. I would encourage you to, understand, like, how contracts move. That's the difference, right? If I pick, like, and the further away you get from the money, the more beating a contract will take. So you'll notice, right, if you go up, like, just a little 0.25%, these contracts will obviously be printing. If you have a falling 3 here, you have a rising wedge here. So, looking at that here, if I know that's a rising wedge, it'd probably behoove me to do what? Like, grab a few contracts right here. So falling 3 literally looks like that. You probably have one on Stoxel too. You have a falling 3 here too. Notice how both these charts look exactly the same here. So if I'm telling you that, the chart's telling you that, that usually means you need to exit the position, right? Or you need to do what? You need to grab protection here. I'm not going to do either, but that's something that you should be looking at when you're holding your positions here, right? A lot of people, they'll see something in front of their face and they just won't believe it. I'm just like, hey man, like, you're going down, and they're like, oh, well, why? And I'm like, look at the chart. The charts don't care about your feelings, right? Why is unimportant. It's more of like objectively, what do you see? What do you see here? Right? You see a falling 3 reversal. And you'll notice these contracts fluctuate. So many times when people are following my play or it's their own plays, they don't even give the play a chance. So you'll notice right off the bat, I was already down like $100. Like I just got filled instantly down, right? And a lot of people, whatchamacallit, a lot of people, I don't know. They just have a hard time managing the position. But if you look here, you're in profits, you can exit here. Right? So like it's gonna spike up to like maybe 40 bucks, 50 bucks, 100 bucks profit. The hard part that people have is just pressing that close button or trim button here. Like if you're going up here, right? A lot of people have a hard time making 150 bucks a day. Like they have it, but they won't take it. Like they refuse to take it, right? So, ask yourself what your goals are. Are your goals to sit in front of a computer screen all day? If they're not, you gotta lock in, buddy. You gotta lock in. You gotta make some different changes here. So within what, maybe 5 or 6 minutes of calling this out, we're already up about 90 bucks, right? We can definitely take profits here. Right? So if you want to protect your profits, what can I do now? So what might make a bit more sense here is, right, you either need to trim here. So this isn't a call out here. This is an example. You either need to take your profits right here now on stream, or, right, if you're going to just hold something, it's volatile, right? QQQ is at 701 here, right? I have 702 calls here. You can either wait for it to get in the money and exit, right? Or you can grab a hedge as protection in case if you feel like it's going to drop. Okay? So obviously now we're up 200 and something bucks now. So you can go ahead and like trim. That's common sense. Two completely different things. So now you have an evening star here, but I'm looking for stocks that kind of pushes up. What is it going to do here? Are we going to collapse and go down for pre-market lows, or are we going to raise up here? So again, we have more opportunities to exit, right? $10 profit. I want you to kind of view how many times this goes up and down the same range here. Up $40 in profit again. Up 170, right? How many times? Negative 170, positive, negative, positive. Look how many times these contracts fluctuate, guys. Even when you're going down, look, you're going down, but you still have an opportunity to exit right here, right? If you actually walk all the way back down here to kind of pre-market lows, yeah, these are going to be negative now, like probably $1,000 or so. So now look at the contracts here, right? The difference of you holding and selling here is what? Now you're negative 220, maybe panicking a little bit now. So we'll have this open here, and we'll do this into some education here. So a lot of people, if they're down in a position here, they're panicking, you know, if they're taking a play. And that's why they don't like the interplays. That's why they will, again, think the market's rigged here. But it's not, right? Even when you're down this amount, it never bothers me whether I'm on stream, never bothers me if it's my personals, never bothers me in general. I know that no matter what the chart does, I'll find another setup here to offset this position, to get back to break even, or obviously, as most times, take some ridiculous take some profits. What I'm viewing right now is you have a wall. What's your wall? You have a call wall here at 700. This is this is your resistance right here. This is literally a wall. If you go back throughout price, you can see that, right? When you come to your wall, you literally kind of bounce up or you reject here. This has nothing to do with Fibonacci's. This is just a wall. Walls are meant to be what? Walls. So your overhead resistance right here, is 700, okay? So even though price is so far away and you're down $500, the minute price goes back up here, which is only about 80 cents, which isn't even that much for a move, even in chop, right? You'll be back to positive, maybe just under. And the chart I care about most is right here. So what is Soxel doing? How does it look on the 15-minute? Looks like we have a doji. We had what? What does it look like right here? All it looks like is we had buyer step in here. So look at that. Price just went back into profits, guys. After you were down how much? So you were down $500 when you messed up, right? You didn't take profits because you're greedy. But guess what? Right? What did I tell you? Price is now back in profit up here. And guess what you get to do now, guys? You get to participate and hold the call here. So did you learn your lesson here, right? Right? We have 700 calls here. Did we learn our lesson or did we take profits? Right? That's my question for you. So right, contracts are now up, what, 230 here, 190, 260, whatever. And we're at a target here, maybe this 50% line up here. So the way you want to draw profits here again is, right, if I have profits right here of 700 calls, right, what can we do here again, right? Well, you want to grab a hedge right here. If you're just up like $40, that makes 0 sense here. Then maybe once you start to get to $200, $300, $400 in profit here, then you can really start to kind of trim away here. So you'll notice price will go up, right? It's bouncing between $310 here in profit, and it's bouncing between $80 in profit here. So you see that Dragonfly Doji here on whatever it's called here. I'm gonna go here and update the chat. Okay. And what can you do here again? Go ahead and maybe just, you know, trim for profits. So once it reaches 400 here, get my screenshot. Gonna update the chat here. Oh, that was not 400. I want 400 for my screenshot. There we go. We'll go ahead and trim. We'll trim 5 contracts right here. $420 profit. Now we have 5 contracts left here. So if we have 5 contracts left, we did trim some, right? And we're targeting right 702.42. Okay. So if you see here, guys, when you hear me joke about the bottom tick, what did we just catch though? We just caught the bottom fucking tick. That's why it's fun. It should be fun to catch these bottom ticks here, right? We use Soxel. We looked at QQQ. We use structure. We use the pre-market high, the pre-market.
Nasdaq closed again once under its 55-day EMA. I do consider that level institutional. Whenever we do close below the 55 EMA, I tell people pump the brakes. I want to see what we're working with. Why do we close below the 55 EMA? What's going on here? If you go over to QQQ on the 30-minute time frame, I do have some levels marked out here with good 95% chance zones here. So you're on your pivot here, right here. It'll make sense why when we go to the next slides. You're either going to tag this level down here, 693, and or flush all the way back down here to this bottom wick on Friday and double bottom. If you do that right, this would now create an inverse head and shoulders. Here's your left, here's your head, here's your right. You obviously don't want to undercut, but sometimes you can undercut this candle right here, right? I call it an undercut, right? Then you bounce, you come up here, retest, you either grab your bull flag here to rip up, right? Or you obviously, right, break down here, right? That has to be viewed and done kind of during intraday market. But these are your levels here, the next 2 to 3 days here, 95% chance zones here. And these are really good strategies for strangles. A lot of people don't understand, even if you're right, you can still be wrong when you strangle correctly. When we go over here to QQQ on the 4-hour time frame, we do observe an evening star chart pattern here. So you have your middle doji here, and then you have your bearish engulfing candle. So this candle hasn't been completed yet. What I'm looking for here is, right, you see an evening star right over here. So you have your engulfing candle, you have your doji here, and then you obviously have a bearish engulfing candle that's followed by more bearish engulfing candles. So for me, right, it's a pretty simple trade. If we break 705 here from a 4-hour time frame perspective, right, we're going to flip into an uppercase H, right? That would be your bottom, well, rather this, and then this would flip up into an engulfing candle that looks like that. This would flip into an uppercase H. What does that pattern look like? I'm going to try to find one over here. That can essentially look like something close to right here. So, right, you have your candle over here, right, you engulf. You have your doji right here, right? And then you flip right here this doji. So flipping this doji right here, looking to have obviously, right, well, stronger kind of momentum here, but kind of that's the principle here. So we do have an evening start here on the 4-hour time frame for the Nasdaq. When I go over here to the daily time frame here, I do look at my rate of change. Our rate of change has also flipped to 0. A good telltale sign if you should be going long or short is whenever you're losing rate of change, you do want to get back over that 0% line. That is very important. In fact, actually rather critical and crucial. Here on the daily time frame here, obviously we do have a close here below our 55 EMA, which is institutional. But one thing I'm also observing here that's in progress is the bullshit batting baby candle. A lot of people, I think too much about chart patterns. No chart pattern is perfect, but I tell people if you knew everything that everybody else knew, right, it wouldn't have worked. So the way I kind of see this, right, is, right, price literally went down from 724, right, all the way down here to 686, right. Obviously you have gaps here. What really is that? That is one large red candle, right? You have a doji here, right? Okay, so you have 2 large candles wherever you want to go down here. Let's just call it right here. Then you have a doji right here, and then you have a possible bullish engulfing candle right here on the Nasdaq. So that's one, right? So it's either going to be this or it's not, right? That's how I use multiple time frames, right? And when I'm trading throughout the day, right, I know everything that is going on all time frames, right, because I have multiple ones open up. But also, right, I'm doing my homework the night before, right? So if I hop in the market, right, someone might say, well, I thought on the 1 hour it was this, and I thought on the 2 hour it was this, and I thought on the daily it was this. Well, that's my point. You have to step it up, right? If there's all these different things happening, right, how are you going to react to a trade, right? You have to have stop, fill limits, orders. You have to be disciplined by rules, right? Going here to the 1,000 tick time frame as well. We have 2 more textbook setups here again, right? So we have 2 basically, and what I'm saying here is we're in a big pivot zone here. You're going to flush down below, or you're going to create literally a bullish engulfing candle from heaven itself, right? Throughout that, right, is that Wednesday? Is that what we're waiting for? Are we waiting for Google earnings, right, for the market to go up? Possibly, right? I did make a video yesterday. Make sure you share, like, subscribe to the videos here. If you really do like my content, just want to take a moment to say, if you do like my content, liking, sharing, subscribing really does help me out with the algos. So if you like my content, you enjoy the free streams, you enjoy the content and the things that I try to do and help people for, that really does go a long way for me. But getting back to it, right, we do have this engulfing candle here possibly in progress. We obviously came up here, but we wicked down below. The way I see it is we just rejected a pivot point right here, and that's exactly what you saw. And rejected that gap up above that daily 55 EMA here. So institutions are still kind of, right, not wanting to get involved. And another way that I view that, right, is, again, we have Google earnings, right? So if you have Google earnings, right, what does that mean? You have earnings on Wednesday, and it's a pretty big deal, okay? And we have to wait for what they say. Why would an institution want to go long here on a stock or an index when Google might say, hey, the world's ending, right? Sell everything, right? And then the stock market tanks. So when people are wondering why we're chopping, when people are wondering why we're selling down, right? There's reasons, right? Did you know that we had earnings this week? We have earnings, right? I posted a calendar here on Reddit. If you don't follow me on Reddit, make sure to follow me on my Reddit account. I do post daily content there as well. Over here, again, 70% off sell. Use code HBT. We're also doing a 250K account giveaway. Just follow the rules here and the instructions. I'm not going to go over that. But we do have earnings this week, right? So just make sure to follow this Reddit thread and post. I try to do my best to give people what they're looking for, so you don't have to look far. But we have earnings this week, right? So if you have Tesla, Alphabet, IBM, Now, Texas Instruments, Intel, so forth, why would I want to go long if they might say, hey, things aren't going well? It's a risk, right? And what do market makers and what do people with money not want to do? Risk money. So we have quite a bit of different things going on here, but again, what I do know from a standpoint from the Nasdaq, we did have a 55 EMA close here. We do have our 95% zones here. We do have our evening star here on the 4-hour time frame. Then on the daily time frame, we have observed a bullish abandoned baby pattern as well. And then all to say, we have a textbook falling 3. So you're literally in a 50-50 zone, and that's why I go back to this slide over here. It's a really good strategy for strangles, right? Grab some time. You don't need to grab a 0 day. A strangle like this will be beautiful. You're going to print either way. You can't lose. Options Funny is running a 70% off disc code right now. Use code HBT and read the instructions here on how to win a straight to funded account. No eval needed to pass. Straight to funded with a payout as soon as 1 day here from Options Funding. I hope to catch you tomorrow on the live stream. Have a blessed day. Taller Point Trading, I'm out. Futures, yes, and we have the S&P 500 over here using the 30-minute time frame here. Here are your 50% zones here, good for 2 to 3 days here. Right here at 743, here at 740. Again, really good areas for strangles if you're into that. But overall, obviously, you can just wait to kind of confirm its structure. You do have a lowercase h here with a failed, what it looks like morning star here into a lowercase h off of a rising 3 here. This is your screen zone here. You can kind of see when you get into this level here, it's a really good level to get involved with. I call them really good pivot zones. A lot of people will try to get involved in kind of like here when you're kind of chopping, stuff like that, maybe even here. I'm going to get involved in my pivot where I am going to get a 100% move here either way. That way, even if I pick the wrong way, with the size of the move here that happens here, I can be prepared. A good way to kind of see like where and how big your squeeze zones are just to your price range here. So if we go to price range right here, and I kind of go from here, let's say it up here, looks like right here you have like 1% moves up to kind of 0.34. Again, what was this move here? About 0.5% here. How big was this move here? 0.7% here. And how big was this move here? 0.29. Again, these tools are all free here, guys, on TradingView. A lot of people, I try to tell you, like, are you going to go long here? Why and or why not right here, right? These are kind of like, right, also high probability zones here. We're going to kind of look at the bigger picture right here. Obviously, you have an inverse head and shoulders here, right? With a double bottom, doesn't have to be perfect. With a bullish pendant here, kind of breaking out here. And right now in real time, we might have the same thing. We obviously have to adapt here in real time. So again, maybe we sweep down here, 95% chance zone here. Again, when we look at the futures here, I have my chart marked out over here. We did reject the previous day high right up here at 7,552. We took it a lower low here from last week, 7,493, and then we did close below. We are creating a lower low here on all time frames, and it looks like we have swept and or in the process of sweeping last week's previous low here. When I go over here to the daily time frame, obviously we are still above the 55 EMA. SPX is a laggard. We do have on the daily time frame evening star bearish reversal here. This is what an evening star reversal looks like here. And we have a morning star reversal that did occur here, but it looks like it is failed or in the progress of failing here. And here are my zones here to the downside and left side. Right here are your put wall, 737 here. And you did breach that first put wall at 743. And then your call walls are as above, 747, 750. And then monthly expected moves obviously are up here, 752, 753, 760. And then your monthly expected moves all the way down here to the downside, 733. And then all the way back down here to $716. A lot of people might be wondering kind of like what's going on with the market today, why did it drop? Well, I would ask, why did it go up? Why would it go up, right? Nothing happened, nothing changed, right? There's been no progress, no deals on the Ram Roar. And I think a lot of people just they keep forgetting that, again, we have no deal. Nothing's been changed. So again, I talked about it in my last video. Make sure that you watch all the videos because everything really does connect to each other, right? A lot of people are trying to figure out like what's going on with the market, right? But don't know again like what really again is going on here. I'm obviously going to mark my pre-market levels here. If you want my indicators, let me know. In the comment section, I have my indicators where you can mark your previous week highs, previous day highs, previous Friday closed, lower weeklies, etc., right? But one thing, how I'm going to get prepared for tomorrow's open is, right, overnight before market, I'm going to mark my pre-market high, tell everybody that's your the best thing you can do. So mark your pre-market high, mark your pre-market low, and then where you open up at and kind of go from there and watch the structure, right? Obviously tomorrow morning, if we are back here going to the Nasdaq, if we break past this level here at 696, and then on the on our other time frames, we start to see an engulfing candle here. We break the top of that candle here at 705.62. I'll be looking to, obviously go longs, obviously not financial advice here. But again, right, we also have a falling 3 here, no different from how if the pattern fails, right, then we'll get involved with a short here. So here's my levels for tomorrow and the next 2 to 3 days. And that's how I would approach the market, use my levels, use my videos, use the knowledge and everything else I'm providing you to better yourself, to become a better trader, and just a better person overall in life. Everything I do is for the people, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. I'll catch you tomorrow here, hopefully in the live stream. 70% off on all accounts for options funding. Again, if you don't follow the Discord, make sure you follow. And